Hi everyone, and welcome to week 11. This week we're going to be working on our last project number 5, which is designing this conference talk gift booklet. So as you remember from last week, you have chosen a conference talk, you did some sketching, different layouts. This week we're just continuing on with that. So in case you forgot, here's our goal. Is to create this gift booklet that you would give to someone that contains a talk that's nicely laid out, has a picture of the speaker. Yeah, it's just a really nicely presented piece of information. So let's jump over to the process book for this week. Okay, so last week you did physical sketches of ideas for the layout of the book, how it could look from page to page, where text goes, where pull quotes go, where the photo goes, things like that. So this week we're just taking that a step further now and are going to be doing the first draft. So this page in the process book is just kind of a thumbnail overview of your whole thing. I would just start actually designing in InDesign, open up a document and start laying it out. I'll go over that in a minute, how I would begin that process. But so for this page, once you've designed that, I would just make a PDF and then drop them into these little slots here. Rather than making like mini versions, it'll be a lot easier if you just do it at full scale and then drop it in here when it's done. So that's what you'll be doing is, this is just your first draft. This will be the page you upload to the feedback board this week. These subsequent pages down here are just, they want to see larger views of your best 2 spreads. So you'll pick your best 2 from up here and drop them down here in the process book just so we can have a larger view of them. Okay, let's go over all these details in between. So this is the first draft. This is all about making a plan of how you want to lay it out. There's a term in graphic design called pacing that's kind of just exactly this. It's just laying out with a purpose. So when you have a book like this, you don't want every page to be 2-column text, 2-column text, 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 text. It would get really boring, really difficult when every time you flip the page is the exact same thing. So this is a plan for how to shake it up, how to make it interesting. So is the title really large here and then there's just a little bit of text? Maybe this page has 2 columns, this one only has 1 column. This one has no text and it's just a photo. This page could be a pull quote, back to 2-column text, back to 1-column text. So just those are things you want to think about when you're pacing out the booklet, is as you're flipping through how to keep someone's interest so it's not just the same plain text on every page. So yeah, just think about all those ways that you can present the information without it just being plain text. So like we talked about pull quotes, using that photo strategically, blocks of color, do some headlines or subheads get different treatments? Can we switch from 2 columns to 1 column to half a page to a full page? So just really think about all those different ways to showcase the message. So that is making the plan. Here are the elements again, 1 photo with a caption. You have to use paragraph and character styles. Paragraph styles we got really familiar with in the last project. Character styles I'll review below, but essentially they're the same thing. And you have to use page numbers. So it's a pretty minimum requirement checklist here. And the rest is kind of just up to you to be creative. So even though there's only a few requirements, I really want you to think creatively with this though. Don't just give me black and white page after page of text. We really want to get creative with this. Think back to kind of how this layout is a very interesting way to present the information. Okay, styles. You know what paragraph styles are from the last project. Character styles are the same exact thing, except obviously, as the name implies, it's not for a whole paragraph, it's just a small amount of text. So something like the title of the book. You might want to specify that whenever a book is mentioned, it has a specific treatment, like it's italicized or bold or underlined. So you would want to set that as a character style so that you can just select the title of book style in the list and it will automatically format it how you've specified. So you want to treat script, superscript, and footnotes the same way, page numbers, Anything that isn't a whole paragraph that's just a smaller piece is a character style, but it functions the exact same way as a paragraph style in InDesign. Okay, so let's jump right in here to an InDesign document, and we'll go over how I would begin to create this project. So let's open up a new document window. As it stated, it's a 7 by 10 page, are the dimensions. It's going to be portrait orientation, and it's going to have a total of 12 pages, and that includes your front and back cover. You'll want to make sure the facing pages box is checked, since this will be a book and the pages will be facing each other. Down here you can set the columns and margins here. I like to set them once I open the document so I can see what I'm looking at. Same with the bleed and slug. So yeah, as long as you have all of these, that should say 12, all of these things set, then you can create the document. And I've already started one right here with this little list of things, the order I would begin this project in. So now that we have the document, you can see over here, first page, that would be our front cover. Page 2 would be the inside of our front cover. And then page 3 through 10, those 8 pages are where the text goes. Page 11 is the inside of the back cover. Page 12 is the back cover. So you have 8 pages basically to work with to print the talk in, and the front cover will be a typographically designed title page, so you'll also need to design the cover. But let's start at the beginning here with our margins and grid. So over here in InDesign, there's something called a master page, and when you edit this master page, or this spread in this case, it applies whatever you do to this page to all the pages marked with the corresponding letter. So this is the A master, so all my pages are marked with the letter A, so whatever I put on this master page will appear on all these pages. So for things like a grid that you want to be on all the pages, or a page number, this is where you would add it. Okay, so let's make sure both of these are selected and do our margins. Okay, so say I just want a little bit bigger margins. That looks good. Go layout, create guides to create our grid. Say I want, I don't know, 12 rows and 10 columns. Make sure that it is set to margins and not page, otherwise it won't line up nicely with the margins you've created this grid. Okay, so if I like that grid, hit OK. So these grids are really important because this is how you will align all your objects and make sure that they are lining up on each page the same. So you don't want your margins on one page to have your text come all the way over here, and on another page the text stops over here. You want to make sure that you have the same layout on all the pages. So if we check now, all of our pages that are marked with that little letter A correspond to our master page up here. Alright, so let's go back to our list. We've done the margins and grid. So next is where I'd kind of start to, as I call it, boxing it out, just making text boxes where I want things to go. So on my cover, say I want my title to be here. And you don't even have to fill it in yet, but now you can kind of have an idea where that box is, and yeah, just start adding the boxes. Say I want my author to be here. Looks good. On the inside, the same idea. So I want my title up here. And this becomes important then because once you establish where the body copy will go, so say I want this page to be 2 columns. I want 1 column of text there. And I'm just going to copy that and say I want the other one right next to it. So these 2 columns represent where my text will go. So this is important because once we've boxed out where we want everything to go, the next step will be to flow our text. So now that I know where I want my text to go, I will copy my text. So I've copied this talk here from last conference. I'll bring it back. And now I'll place my cursor in the box, and this is called flowing the text, just putting it all in. So I'm not going to put the title there, so I'll take that out. So now I have my text, and we went over this last week too. When you see this little red arrow down here, this little plus sign, this means that there's more text than can fit in the box. So if you click, it loads your cursor. Now we can see how there's some text hanging off it. And now we click in the next box, and it loads that box. And this will go on and on until you've used up all the text. So if you have all your boxes laid out through the whole thing, you can just keep clicking the little red plus, your loaded cursor, and just keep inserting it into all the boxes that you've established you want the text to go into until you have found a home for all your text. So it makes it really simple to just flow it through the whole document. And then when you adjust your columns later, it keeps up with the text so that it's alive, if that makes sense. It's living text so that it's always adjusting with your columns when you change them. Okay, so let's go back up here. So yeah, I would box out where your headlines go, your page numbers, columns, pull quotes, photos, and then flow your text into it. So let's go over really fast how to do the page numbers. So when you add your page numbers, make sure to do it on the master page spread, this A master, so that they'll appear on all your pages. So decide where you want them to go and draw a box. So let's just say I want them in the bottom corners. So I draw my box. And now to insert a page number, you go Type, down here to Insert Special Characters, Markers, and Current Page Number. So we click on that, and you'll see it's represented by a letter A. So that A just means it's going to turn into whatever page number it should be. So if it's on page 3, that A will become a 3, 4 will be a 4, and on and on. So now that I've done that on my left page, I can just copy, put it on my right page. So now each page will have a page number. So now we can go check down here, and sure enough, page 2, page 3, page 4, 5, and it's filled it in automatically on all my pages. Okay. So we've added the page number, we flowed the text. We talked about paragraph style versus character style earlier. They're both located just up here under styles, character, paragraph. They function the same way. And then once you have everything boxed out, just like our project last week, we insert all the text, then we can go back through and style it all, and then add things like colors and photos and different type treatments. So yeah, that's where I would begin, just with the bones, and then we can go through and play with it more. So I think that's everything you need for this week. As always, you can send me an email if you have questions or a comment on this announcement, and I think that's it. Good luck.